A lot of the young men are not very well like educated, very thoughtful, very mature, or very intelligent, or very ambitious. A lot of them are athletes who, unfortunately, have been trained to believe. Some of whom have been trained to believe that their whole destiny, their whole goal in life, is to throw a football or dribble a basketball. And I said that's kind of a problem. I said because athletic culture sometimes can be very destructive culture. Some of the brothers that play sports, they think that playing sports comes along with being stupid in the classroom. It comes with sitting around with your boys smoking all day and drinking, and just kind of getting yourself into stupid situations. And I know a lot of athletes who are on the other side of that fence who are older and now they can't play sports anymore, and their lives are a wreck. Some of them, beat their, they got married, they beat their wives, they're depressed because they can't get ahead in life. And I'm not talking about everybody. And if you're in that category, I'm not making fun of you at all. I'm just saying that we have to kind of break that cycle. We need manhood in our community, and the thing about it is that this is not male bashing. This ain't all the men's fault. Understand this, that when you talk about the lack of real men in our community, it ain't, you can't put it all on the man now. You put it on two. You can also put it on white supremacy. White supremacy was designed to keep the black man uncompetitive, to keep him distracted and weak. You also can't. You also have to put it on, the fact that many of these boys are being raised by their mamas. Some of them got mamas who think they don't need a man, and I'm a strong black woman. I don't need no man. And then your son grows up the opposite of you. He's not strong. He ends up expecting his wife to be the strong one. She's the one that's got to have the penis and the testicles and wear the pants in the house because he's never learned anything about being a man. And then every time he tries to claim his manhood, somebody's beating it down and telling him, "Oh, you're being you're a sexist, you're a homophobic, you're this, that, and the other," because you listen to these damn liberals who are telling you what kind of person you're supposed to be. And so, one of the things I've concluded, and I'll tell you the truth, is that I don't listen to any of that crap. I'm not out here trying to be liberal. I'm not out here trying to fit into the conservative movement. I'm not trying to fit into none of that. I want to fit into the movement of truth. I think that we have too many lies. We got too many people that are distracting black people so much that your head is spinning. You don't know who the hell you are. These men, these young men. I see so many young men with so much potential that are just lost. They don't have any sort of model of manhood anywhere. Not black male manhood. They think either I gotta be a white man, or I gotta be a gay man, or I gotta be Lil Wayne, or I gotta be a girl. Right? That's what they're doing. They're getting their models of manhood from women and learning how to be women. Which makes them pretty much unmarriable for you as a woman, because I don't know what woman you're talking about. Most heterosexual women don't want weak, pathetic little men, bitchy ass, feminized men. That's not attractive. That's not appealing. And so, one thing I told her is, I said, I have to be honest with you. I said a lot of times when I go to events and on college campuses, and there's a lot of black women that'll be at the event, a lot of black women that are on the organizing committee, and there'll be like one male, maybe two, and he'll either be gay or very, very feminine. And again, this ain't homophobic. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being gay, but you gotta think about that. What does that mean? What does that mean when I go to most campuses and the whole damn committee that brought me in is filled with women, and then there's one guy where I'm looking at him and there's no sense of masculinity coming from him whatsoever. I'm like, no, ain't none of these girls looking at him thinking that's gonna be my husband one day. None of them, right? And so, I would just say that we got to think about that. We got to look at the kind of men we're producing. We got to look at what models of manhood look like. We have to, as a community, make that decision of what that is going to look like without interference from other people. A lot of us, our brains are kidnapped. Our brains are hijacked from white liberals. White liberals tell you what to think. The Democrats will tell you, how you should feel about. Like, for example, a lot of Democrats try to tell me that I should think that, I don't like Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'll say that to begin with. But a lot of people think that I'm supposed to feel that Donald Trump's a racist because of what he said about building the wall with Mexico. And I said, no, that doesn't mean he's a racist. That just means he has an issue with illegal immigration. Now, he might be a racist for something else, but that doesn't tell me he's a racist. That says that he has a position on immigration that says that if you don't come here legally, you can't come, right? Now, again, that may not be fair. It's not fair to illegal immigrants. It could be theoretically some type of racism, but it's not the same as somebody putting on a hood saying that they're a Klansmen, they want to kill all black people. That's not the same thing. But they make that connection so that you'll become one of them. So you'll start saying, oh, he's a racist, he's a racist. And my thing is, like, I don't mind calling somebody a racist, but I need to know exactly why I'm calling you a racist. I'm not going to call you a racist because all the liberals are calling you a racist. And again, I'm not saying I'm not defending Trump at all. So don't think this is a Donald Trump defense. I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of his. I read his book 25 years ago, The Art of the Deal, and he came off as an arrogant white male to me, a privileged white man. But he never came off to me as somebody that I felt would hate me just because I'm black. I never really saw that. He seemed more like a person who would hate me because I was poor, or because he thought maybe I was un-American, or would hate me because I sounded too liberal. But he never came off as a person that, I have a lot of black friends who were friends with Donald Trump, and so I just personally am like, no, let me come to my own conclusion. If I come to my own conclusion, here's what I'll come up with. Donald Trump could be a racist. Joe Biden is a racist because of things that he said about black people. I've heard things very racist from him. Bill Clinton is a racist. I've heard Bill Clinton say things that are disrespectful to black people. Hillary Clinton is a racist. Hillary and Bill Clinton sent more black people to prison than Donald Trump ever could. So there are a lot of racists that I see all over the place. I see white supremacy all over the place, but I don't necessarily see a Trump as standing out in terms of his commitment to white supremacy over the Clintons or the Bushes or the Obamas, or not the Obamas so much. Obama is more of a person to me that didn't really challenge white supremacy. So anyway, let me jump back and say that I was just thinking about manhood today, and I was just thinking that we kind of need an understanding of just what black manhood looks like, like just what that's supposed to be. I know that we created Black Men United, which is an organization for black men, where our goal is to create the kinds of black men that black women can be very proud of, where we have our own independent assessment of blackness and maleness and what that's supposed to look like or what that can look like. And if you want to join, if you're a black man and you want to join and you want to get sort of the information that we share, you can sign up at blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net. And at blackmenunited.net, which launched out of the All Black National Convention, the goal is to really just talk about manhood, what that looks like. I can tell you that there's some very basic ideas of manhood that I believe should come into play. One is strength. I think that universally men should seek to acquire some degree of strength when it comes to education and economics. And that means that, if you're the head of a household, that woman's going to look at you and expect you to be able to help provide for those babies. Now, it's her responsibility too. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when those kids are starving or you ain't got nowhere to live, people are going to look at you as a man, and you're going to be the one who appears to be weak. And what's also a problem is that you double down on your weakness by not training yourself to create your own economic opportunities, by not knowing how to run your own business. A lot of black men, we're trained and raised to go to school a little bit and maybe beg for a job from a white man, and that's the biggest mistake you could ever make in your life. Because I know a lot of black men who have a lot of education who can't get a job from the white man. They can't get opportunities from white people. White people ain't hooking them up. White people ain't giving them the promotions and the pay raises, so they end up stuck. They don't have a solution. And so that woman's looking at you and saying, we can't pay the mortgage. You need to find a way to make that happen. And you can't deliver. So that causes chaos in your household. She leaves you, you leave her, the family breaks apart, your babies suffer because they don't have parents in the household, etc. It's sort of it's like a trail of dominoes, falling over dominoes. So what I would say to you as a black man is, the most important thing a black man can know how to do is start his own business. I really impress upon you that this is the most important thing you'll ever learn in your life. It's far more important than learning European history and going to that big white university that makes you feel fancy because you got a degree in biology. I'm talking about learn how to create something when there is nothing. Learn how to be a playmaker in your own life. Just like I was talking to a brother about football. I said, being an entrepreneur is like being a playmaker. You ever have a football game where you're in the game and the team's behind and you need a touchdown by any means necessary, or you're in a basketball game and you got to find a way to get the ball in the basket? Well, at that point in the game, you need a playmaker, somebody who says, look, we're going to find a way to get that ball in the hole. So in life, if you want to be a playmaker, be an entrepreneur. That'll give you the opportunity to create things in your life, even when nobody else wants to give you anything. The other thing is that educational excellence has to be an important part of your blackness. Stop pursuing mediocrity. Stop thinking that going to school and having a 2.5 GPA is acceptable. It's not acceptable. Stop thinking that somebody's weird because they work too hard, or because they study 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, or because they spend time working on their dream. Stop making fun of people like that. No, you don't make fun of people like that. You should celebrate people like that. You should create people like that. We want everybody to be like that. We master so many other things that don't matter, that don't help us. Why not master the art of knowledge and thought and getting resources and commerce and building businesses and developing empires and becoming organized and becoming powerful. Why not master that? Why not obsess over that? Why not put all of our time into that? That's what's going to make you strong. That's what's going to let you compete. Your problem for black people is that you spend a lot of time kind of hoping that other people will let you in, that other people are going to accept you, that they're going to include you, that they're going to assimilate you. And you sort of are very passively waiting for them to open that door so you can have opportunity. And so the problem is that they're never going to open that door. They're never going to let you in. Not in your lifetime. Maybe in your great, 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 great grandchildren's lifetime, things will be better in about 200 years from today. But right now, those doors ain't opening for you. You got to kick them open, and you got to build a door. Build a door and open it your damn self. So what else? I think that the way we kind of view black women is very, very important. Respecting black women. It bothers me when I just see so much media that says it's okay to call black women by any old kind of name. I get bothered when I see black women who respect men more when they're calling them bitches and hoes than when they're actually showing the respect they deserve. I get bothered when I see women that disrespect themselves, by behaving in ways that literally are not befitting of a queen. I mean, that's the hard part. A lot of people use the word queen just to be nice, but some of these sisters ain't acting like queens. They're not acting like the kind of queens I'd ever want to be around, and I'm not going to disrespect you, but the fact is the world will if you keep behaving that way. So I think that it's kind of like this really ugly, vicious cycle that we have. I think that respecting the woman is very important because when what you say about women really is a reflection of yourself. It's a reflection of how you feel about your mother. You came from your mother, so you and your mother are one. So when you disrespecting women, you're really disrespecting yourself. When you go into, but the same thing is true for women who disrespect men. When you ain't got nothing positive to say about every man you've ever been around, and you think men are just worthless and don't deserve to have any sort of relevance in your life, then you're really talking about yourself. You're really speaking to your own poison that lies within inside of you. When you go through life constantly spitting poison on every situation, every person who comes in your path, then you pretty much what you're saying is that you're filled with so much poison that you can just spit it out constantly because you got to be filled with it in order to spit that much venom out into the world. So just be very cautious about what you say about other people. That's what like I like once I had a relationship that didn't go well. The girl didn't want, she didn't want to be around me or whatever. Things happen, and people were like, "Well, aren't you mad at her? Like, f that bitch, and I can't believe she did that. And you need to why aren't you mad at her? Or blah blah blah. And why won't you call her for what she is?" And I just said, well, I mean, the way I talk about her is a reflection of me. If I say she was stupid and she was worthless, and she was an idiot and she was an asshole, then I'm really saying that I have poor judgment. I'm saying that the person that I told you a year ago was the love of my life. It's that I was totally wrong, that I'm stupid, that I'm not capable of deciphering a good person from a bad person, that I picked bad people to be in my life, or that I was lying to you the first time, right? Or that I was somehow delusional, right? The first time, right? How can I tell you in 2012 that she's the greatest woman in the world, then in 2013 I'm trying to convince you that she's the bitch of the month? Like that don't even make no damn sense. No, you know what? I said, hey, I'm sorry. The girl didn't want to be with me. She wanted to be with somebody else. She's moving on with her life. I'm a little mad about it. I'm a little salty. I was like, I'm a little mad about it, but I'm not going to run around here, totally reversing my whole policy toward her. If I really cared about her, I really respected her, I want her to do well. I wish her well. And really, the more I act like I'm just so deprived because she's gone, the more I'm actually sort of saying that I'm incapable of building my life in the way that I want it to be. No, I'm in control. There's other fish in the sea. I'm going to be fine. I have strength. I'm going to move on. So the one way I can show you that I have strength is to wish you well. And that's it. So be careful about how you talk about other people, how you view the world. If you view the world through dingy glasses, you're always going to see a dingy world. So if everything around you is dingy, then you probably have to wipe the smudge off the lens through which you're looking at life and looking at the universe. Um, so anyway, what else was I thinking about in terms of manhood? I think every man should take care of his kids. I think you should do everything you can to be in the life of your children. Now the thing about the children thing, the child support thing, is that there's like an underbelly to that conversation that nobody talks about, and the underbelly is that people act as if every time a child is growing up with a single mom, that it must be because the father is irresponsible. And I can tell you right now that ain't true. If you have any common sense, if you know anything about life, you know that ain't true all the time. You know that relationships are complicated. You know that sometimes Sometimes it's the husband that's been abused. It's not just the woman that's always the abuse victim. Their relationships are very complicated, But I think at the end of the day, I think any man that does abandon his kids, that's just not cool. You made a baby with that woman, and you may not want to pay the cost or whatever, but you have an obligation to do that, and also you have to do more than just send your baby diapers every month and Christmas presents. Like, who cares if you bought them a birthday present or you always do Christmas for the baby? That don't mean nothing. Don't no real parent just pay for Christmas. You need to do more than that. You're supposed to be there every day, giving a 30% of your income or more toward taking care of your child. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. Somebody says, should the man be the breadwinner? I personally think the man should have the ability to make bread in case other people can't make bread. I think that there are masculine and feminine roles. I think that what I have found is that the more a man treats a woman like a lady, the more of her womanhood will come out. But the more the woman learns to treat the man like a man, the more his masculinity will come out. When you emasculate your man, what you're effectively doing is you're turning him into the very thing that you despise. A lot of mothers emasculate the hell out of their sons, the way they yell at them, the way they might abuse them, the way they, you know, coddle them and treat them like little babies, the way they turn them into substitute husbands. You're emasculating the hell out of your son. You're turning him into like, oh, some other woman's complete nightmare. You're using him up and making him worthless for the world. So get your own damn man. Your husband is not your husband. Your son is not your husband. So let that go, please. But I do think that when you treat that man like a man, at least I noticed that when I've been in a situation where a woman really treats me like I'm the man and really gives me that respect, it makes me more protective. It makes me more masculine. It makes me feel stronger, right? So the same thing is true, but the same thing is true in the reverse. If you treat a woman a certain way, you can bring out, that loving side of her, or you can bring out the hardcore side of her. Same thing is true though when you talk to a man. There is a way to talk to a man. People think it's sexist to say that, and you got some of these crazy white feminists who think that that's a bad thing. But no, there's a way you talk to a man, just like there's a way you're supposed to talk to a woman. I wouldn't talk to women the way I talk to everybody else, because biologically speaking, men and women are different. So there are things when I approach it with a woman, I know, especially if it's a woman I'm with, I know there's a way I have to talk to her, and that's going to help her kind of, understand what I'm saying and not be offended in a certain way or whatever. The same thing is true with men, though. You got a lot of women that don't know how to talk to a man. A lot of women will talk to a man any old kind of way, talk to him like he's a piece of shit, cuss him out, yell at him, get all butch on him, pull out her balls, put her balls on the table. And if you do that with a man, then he's going to get real, real nasty real quick. A real man, anyway. A real man ain't going to let you talk to him like he's a bitch. A real man will fight you back. And so if you're looking for him to love you and protect you and caress you, and you talking to him, you trying to beat him down and berate him, oh, he's gonna come back with a vengeance. Because what you're doing when you are aggressive with him is you are coming at him with masculine energy, and instinctually he responds to masculine energy with his own masculine energy. Just like on the football field, the other team grunts at you, you grunt back, right? You grunt back, and you go hard at each other because you know that they are a threat to you. So, somebody said, he sounded like my dad. Well, that's true. I mean, I realize that like we kind of have a dad deficit or something for somehow, white supremacy is responsible for that because they sent so many dads to prison. But I'm like, well, shoot, if I could be a dad for some people, let me be the dad. Let me help. I don't want to be invasive. I don't want to be intrusive. But I'm gonna tell you a lot of the stuff that white liberals are teaching you about manhood and womanhood and gender and sexuality and all that. A lot of that's just stupid. I mean, evolve the way you want to evolve. You're gonna have your LGBT stuff. You're gonna have your black female version of feminism, women's rights. You gotta respect that. If you're a man, you're gonna have a lot of movements, but they should be your movements. They should be yours. Don't do white liberalism in blackface. It makes you look stupid. When you have black women who are like, I'm a feminist and I'm with my feminist sisters and I'm just like, and they're running around with the white women and identifying with every issue that's handed to them by white women, it makes them look dumb. It looks stupid to me. As a black man, you're like, wait a minute, why you treat me like I'm the white man? I ain't got half the power he got. He's running the world. He's the one that fired you from your job, not me. I didn't do that. And I think black women need their own movement. I'm sorry. And people want to call it sexist or whatever the fuck they want to call it. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I do not care. Call me whatever you want. The fact of the matter is that black women need their own movement when it comes to fighting for their equal rights. Period. I think that black women, and I think as men, if you're a real man, you're gonna respect that. If you're a real man, you're gonna respect black women as you know, as leaders and equals that they are. I think that we lose as a community when we don't sort of embrace and accept the power and the strength and the intelligence of black women. Black women, despite everything they go through, are among the most educated people in the world. They've accomplished a lot. And the same way I'll fight a crazy feminist for telling me that black women need to be just like white women, I'll fight a black man who says black women don't deserve to be respected. And I don't, and so I don't, I'm not with all of that. I'm not, and I get made fun of. There are people who call me Moist Watkins and all that, moist, get it, like moist like a vagina, I guess. They call me Moist Watkins because of what I say in support of women, but I don't care, because I do believe that at the end of the day, if you're a real man, you're not worried about what people think about your masculinity. You're comfortable where you are, and so I'm very comfortable with my position on all of that. So talk about me, make fun of me. I don't care. There's people been making fun of me my whole life. It ain't no big deal. So I would just say that as a community, as a family, we got to know what a family looks like. In a family, most families, you have the father, you got the mother, you got the children, and the mothers and the fathers love each other and they understand that there's nothing more important than the family. What I see, my problem with white feminism is that white feminism is very, very selfish. It's very, very selfish. It's built on this idea. For example, one thing that never made any sense to me is when you talk about the whole conversation about abortion, for example. Now, I'm not telling you to be pro-life or pro-choice. I'm not going into all that. That's your decision. But what I will say is that first of all, you got to go back to Margaret Sanger and realize just how Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, everything she said about using Planned Parenthood to exterminate black people and using black preachers to do that. I mean, that's real, as clear as documented. So you just kind of understand the premise on all of this. But to that extent, though, the conversation on abortion always bothered me because I never understood this notion that I, as a father, have no right to even have a voice, to even have any say whatsoever over what happens to my baby. I just don't get it. But yet, if someone else decides that they want to have my baby because they give me no voice, I got to pay for the baby, right? So I guess if you really want to, if everybody want to just be an asshole and just do what's best for them, then the mother could say, well, I don't care. I'm going to abort the baby if I want to, and there's nothing you could say. And the father could say, okay, well, I'm gonna do a financial abortion. I'm going to abort myself from the financial process because you're choosing to have the baby. That's your decision. Good luck to you and the baby, right? But I don't even like that. I mean, to me, that's like fire with fire, where basically the child's going to suffer now because two assholes got together and made a baby and don't know how to take care of it. That's really what it is. Is you're both destroying that child. You both are trying so hard to win. You're trying so hard to beat the other person and to secure your rights and your life and what you want that you're not thinking about that baby. And I'm gonna tell you, a community only develops and grows and evolves in a positive way if you understand the value of the family unit. Where you understand the importance of the family and the child as being, paramount to the importance of you getting your way and you winning that particular battle. So, I've never been one to tell my daughters or anybody about the pro-choice, pro-life in terms of what they should do with a baby. If they ask my opinion, I'll say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to ever tell anybody to get an abortion. I can't because I'm too visual. I see, when you tell me you're pregnant, I see a person, right? I see that person at 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 years old. I see a human being. I don't see a pack of cells that are going to disappear because really it's out of sight, out of mind. That's why they don't show you pictures of what a baby looks like before it's being aborted because they don't want you to see that. They don't, because they know that you'll get emotionally attached to it because you'll start to somehow believe that this fetus is an actual person. But then the other thing, the reason it's confusing to me is because, at the same time, when they do decide it's a person, when they do decide that this person is going to have the baby, it's like suddenly you're supposed to be all sympathetic and be like, oh, but that's a pregnant woman and that's a fetus, that's a living soul inside of her. But I'm like, wait a minute, a minute ago when she was going to get the abortion, you told me that the baby wasn't real, but now you tell me that the baby's real, that it's a person. Which one is it? It's so ultimately what's occurring to me is this sort of selfish way of saying, I'm going to tell you what reality needs to be right now. If I decide this baby ain't shit and this baby don't matter and this baby needs to die, then you need to act like the baby ain't shit. If I think the baby is important and precious and loving and wonderful and infinitely valuable, then you need to go along with that program too. So whatever I want And again, this traces back to the white woman. The white female has always felt that the world needs to adjust to her way of thinking. If she wants to be feminine, you need to treat her femininely. If she wants to be masculine, you need to let her be masculine. She can choose what she wants to be and still get everything she wants, right? So I'm not a fan of that. Now I'm not judging. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm not telling you that I'm going to fight you if you're pro-life or pro-choice. I don't really have a horse in the game. I can only tell you what I would do. If I first of all, I think about where I put my penis. If I'm gonna I value my seed, right? So if I put my seed somewhere and the woman's pregnant with my baby, first of all, it's gonna be a woman that I chose carefully. I'm not gonna just choose a stripper to put my semen in. Number two, I probably want my baby to live, because I'd be like, well, I mean, I don't think the baby should die just because I was stupid. So let's go ahead and go through with it. But and also again, I'm visual. So if I kill the baby, I'm gonna picture a person my whole life. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, the baby would have been 4, the baby would be 10 now, the baby would be in high school now, right? So I think that everybody has a right to have their own opinion, and every opinion should be respected. But I think sometimes what happens is that there are groups of people, there are factions of people who are so concerned with protecting their own rights that they trample on the rights of everybody else. And so when you tell me, as a father, as a person who made that baby, that I have no right to have any say whatsoever over what happens to my baby, that bothers the shit out of me. That's not right. That ain't fair. Because the minute that baby's born, you're going to tell me I have every responsibility when it comes to taking care of the child. So why don't I have some say in what happens to the baby? Why would you even have a conversation with me? So that to me it feels oppressive, and I think that there should be a conversation about all of that, mother's rights, father's rights, all of that. But we don't talk about that. We talk about it as if, somehow the woman is always the victim, and I just see too many cases where that ain't true. So I know some of what I say might get me in trouble, and maybe I should call my segment politically incorrect, because I'm going to seek the truth. I don't really care what the politics are. A lot of what I'm seeing right now is stupid. A lot of people get mad because so and so went to go meet with Donald Trump. I told him honestly. I said, well, if Martin Luther King were here, he'd probably meet with Donald Trump too, because he worked with everybody, but he worked for nobody. The problem that you have now, the reason that it should be a problem when you see black folks going to meet with presidents, is because you got too many Negroes trying to line up, trying to get a job, trying to get a little extra payoff for hanging with powerful people. So you had black folks that went to meet with Obama, not because they were really trying to help black people. They went to meet with Obama because they were trying to get the hookup. They were trying to get a photo op. They were trying to get invited to the White House party. They were trying to get a bigger paycheck. And those are the people that sold you out. They sold you out more during the Obama administration than they're doing right now. Far more then than now, because you're most vulnerable when you're distracted, and you were distracted by thinking you had a friend in the White House when you really didn't have a friend. You ain't had a friend in the White House ever. You've never had a friend in the White House. You ain't never had somebody in there really battling for you, really going to war for you on the issues that matter to you. You ain't never had that. And I don't know when you're ever going to have it. Maybe you'll have it in about 800 years, or maybe you'll have that in the year 2245 or something like that. But you ain't got it right now, because you don't even know what a friend or a foe versus a foe looks like. Trump's an easy foe to identify, because he tells you who he is. He tells you like it is. But the people in the Obama administration, they were some of the biggest bullshitters of all time. Oh my God, look up Valerie Jarrett. Valerie Jarrett was one of the most horrendous, cold-blooded people I ever saw. Didn't care nothing about black people. There ain't nothing in her track record that tells me that she cared deeply about fighting for black people on a fundamental level. Nothing. And she was one of Obama's number one lieutenants, one of his key advisors. So just know who your friends are. I mean, come on, man. Like, be smart. Be smart. That's all I say. Just think about it. Come to your own conclusion. Don't think I'm telling you what to think at all. I'm not telling you what to think. But stop going on the bandwagon. Too many of us jump on the bandwagon, and it's like, oh, well, the liberals said this, and Hillary said that, and blah, blah, blah. And the Women's March, they said this. And it's like, get your own agenda. Like, I mean, you can participate in all that. Like, be a Democrat, go to the Women's March, join the LGBT stuff, whatever it is you want to do. But at the end of the day, we as black people have to come together as a community and come with our own policies, our own worldview, our own perspective. And that's not going to be everybody. Only maybe about 10% of black people are going to even consider the things that we're talking about. So I don't really expect this to be like a massive movement at all. But we can have our little corner of the world, and we can hold it down right there. And when you hold it down and you're fortified and you got your own little space that's yours, can't nobody fuck with you. Can't nobody mess with you at that point. You get the feeling of being your own man and your own woman, and shaping and carving your own destiny. And it just goes a little bit deeper to it, educating your own children and creating your own industry. If you can educate your own children, create your own industry, you pretty much have your own world. Think about it. What do you spend most of your time doing every day? You spend most of your time, you spend a few hours a day with your family. Not many, but maybe about 4 hours a day with your family. You spend another 8, 9, 10 hours at work with white people, right? With them telling you what to do and them ordering you around like you're a little baby. And then the weekends you got like church and stuff like that with your family again, right? So weekends are good, part of the day is good, but then you have this big gaping hole where you've got to go into this space with these people that hate your guts, right? Who treat you like you are subordinate, like you're nobody, when you got to go along with their program. And then also when you're consuming their media, that's another area where they get you mentally. They also get you when we go through the school system. So if black people just simply shut down a few areas, we could literally close ranks and literally get strong. 3 areas are: number one, educate our own kids. You can do it. You can educate your kids. Let them learn from black people who are going to teach black excellence, so they don't learn that the best you can do as a black person is to assimilate with white people and get them to like you. Number two, shut it down when it comes to media. Develop enough black media, support black media, so that we have the ability to put, when it comes to music our kids listen to, they're listening to certain kinds of artists that we support. When it comes to television they're not watching bullshit like Empire. They're watching black created television shows and programs or whatever. Reading black websites, whatever it is you got to do. Number three, work with and for black people. Develop enough industry in the black community such that we can work, either create a job, or we can work for a black person who created a job. That's going to take some time. Growing an industry is like planting a flower or growing a tree. You plant a tree, trees don't grow overnight, no matter how much water you put on them. But you gotta have patience. And if you plant the seed and you water it every day, it will grow into a tree, and eventually it becomes a sycamore. So we gotta plant seeds of industry, also seeds of thinking. That means when every black child in America is trained to have a business before the age of 12, and what happens is you've got a whole generation of black people who are growing up thinking that the goal is not to work for white people, it's to work for themselves and to work with each other. And then you pull them together into pools of opportunity, where opportunities will be created because you're talking to each other, you're sharing ideas, you're helping each other out, you're buying from each other, selling to each other, etc. and then industries emerge from this. Natural human ambition takes over. And then what happens is that 800 million hours a week that black people spend developing white supremacist institutions, 800 million hours a week that we put into that, we're bringing that 800 million hours back home and putting that energy into building a nation, right? So because I'm telling you, the things that grow are the things you put time into. Just like a child, you don't put time into a child, your child's gonna grow up to become an idiot, a drug addicted asshole. They're gonna be lost. They're gonna have low self esteem. They're gonna screw their life up. Why? Because you didn't spend time with the child. But you spend a lot of time with the child, your child grows up into something different, right? Your child grows up into what you want them to be, something you can be proud of. Well, same thing is true when it comes to a community. If we're putting time into our community and putting our best resources into the community, putting our money into the community, putting our energy into the community, bringing our expertise to the community, then the community will flourish. The community will grow. My business grew the most when I was able to work for myself full time. When I was working for somebody else and giving my business the extra crumbs on the side, my business did not grow. It's remained static. So your community will remain static if we're giving our best to white people and giving ourselves the scraps. So you got to give the best to your community and give white folks the scraps. Let them have the scraps if that's what they want. So straight out, I didn't mean to get overly candid. Actually, this started off with me thinking I really want to talk about black manhood, because I'm just, I'm so sad when I see these boys in their 20s, man, don't have a damn clue of what a man looks like. If you're a black man and you want to join our organization, please join us at blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net. Also, if you're interested in financial literacy or anything like that, I want to make sure you know about our programs. You can check those out at blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. We got our stock market program. We got programs on. We're actually bringing in attorney Tanya Nebo is one of our new faculty. She's going to teach how to buy a franchise, how we can pool our money together and go buy a Subway or go buy, a Chick-fil-A or whatever. She's going to teach us about all of this. And then also Jessica Smith, my accountant, is actually teaching on basically how to put together the right financial blueprint. And these are people that are also involved with the Dr. Boyce Watkins Economic Empowerment Institute that we're actually starting at Simmons College and HBCU in Kentucky. I just made a deal with Dr. Kevin Cosby, the president. The Dr. Boyce Watkins Economic Empowerment Institute. We're going to actually first hold the All Black National Convention there September 29th in Louisville, Kentucky. So please mark that on your calendar. I hope you'll come out. And then we're going to also run programs out of Simmons College of Kentucky. We're going to shoot films there. We're also going to have an economic incubator there. And also, we're going to do the All Black National Convention Europe, which is going to take place in London in March. So if you live in Europe or London, or if you just want to make a trip, we'll release the dates very, very soon. And I hope you'll come with us and hang out with us in London. We have a beautiful venue, and we'll get a chance to interact with the brothers and sisters out there. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I think I'm going to go lay down and do some Netflix before I go to bed because I'm actually a little bit tired. So take care, guys. I love you, and I hope you have an awesome day. And forgive me for all that cussing and I already know I'm gonna get in trouble for this video, but it's all good. Can't nobody tell me what to do. I'm my own boss, damn it. Talk to you soon. Love you guys. Peace.